If you're looking for a high energy, zero prep activity for your ESL students, you should try out the circle football game. Let me show you how to play it. Hi, my name is Megan. I've been an ESL teacher in China for the past 10 years, which means I've been playing this game now for 10 years. That's crazy. I make videos all about ESL teaching and life in China and lesson plan ideas. But today, let me show you how to play the circle football game. Now, this game is perfect for descriptions. It's high energy, super fun, and requires zero prep. Let me show you how to play. The game is really simple. First, clear out an area of your classroom and set up chairs in a circle. Now, just like with games like musical chairs, you're going to have one fewer chair than you need for everyone to take a seat. So let's say you have 30 students in your classroom, plus you as the teacher. That's 31 people. You're just going to have 30 chairs. Invite all of the students to take a seat at a random chair, and you as the teacher can stand in the middle. You will be the first person who is it. The person who is standing in the middle will say a description. For example, maybe if I'm standing in the middle, I would say something like, everyone who is wearing black. Then everyone who is wearing black, everyone who matches the description, needs to stand up and move to a different chair. But the rules are you cannot move to the chair immediately to your left or immediately to your right. You have to move a little bit more. So everyone who matches that description, everyone who is wearing black, will stand up and rush to a different chair. If you don't fit the description, then you can just stay seated and relax. While everyone is moving, the person in the center, it, will try to take a seat, and at the end, one person will be left standing without a chair. That person is the new it, and they will read out another description. Maybe they'll say something like, everyone with earrings, and then everyone who has earrings will stand up and move around. Pretty simple, right? But as you can imagine, when everyone is standing up and moving to their new chairs, it does feel a little bit like the 50-yard line in football. So that's where the nickname comes from. Now, why do I love playing this game? Well, I love that it's so high energy. I feel like it's quite different from a lot of activities that we have in our classrooms where students are just required to sit and listen. Even if there is a review game or a fun activity, students are generally just sitting in their seats, communicating with each other, communicating with the teacher. This is so fun, it's so high energy. And actually just this week, I was reading more about how students need more active break times or active activities. Especially if you're a normal student in a traditional school, you're sitting in that chair for at least 8 hours a day. That makes you so fatigued and so tired. So it's really helpful to have moments where you can stand up, move around, and kind of use that excess energy. Another reason why I love this game is because you're actually using English. This is not a hypothetical situation. You are using English to actually communicate things. You need to be paying attention. You need to understand in order to interact with the game. Kind of connected to that too, I absolutely love that every single person is engaged during this activity. You know, when we have normal review games, a lot of times students will not pay attention to everything that's happening. If it's not their turn to answer the question, or if it's the other team's turn to answer a question, maybe they're not giving it their full attention. But in this game, even if you're not the person who is speaking, you need to be listening carefully to know when it's your turn to get up and when it's your turn to stay seated. So in this activity, every single person is actively engaged the entire time. I love that. From a practical standpoint, I love that this is so time flexible. You could play this for 5 minutes or 50 minutes. Honestly, it could go for as long as you need it to, which makes it a great filler activity or a great bonus activity if you've got a lot of extra time. The last reason I love this one so much is because it allows students to really discover vocabulary words and immediately use them in context. I found that at the very beginning, we're using really simple things like everyone who is wearing sneakers, or everyone who is wearing black, or everyone with long hair. But as time goes on, especially if you add in a rule that you're not allowed to use the same description, we start to get more creative. And then students are using their phones or talking to their partner about how to say the word braces. So they can say, everyone who has braces, stand up and move. Everyone who is wearing earrings, or everyone who has nail polish, or people who have black shoelaces. As time goes on, they get more and more creative. Now, let me give you a few tips for how to play this game because I've been playing it for 10 years. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it does not. I've figured out what works. First tip is to act out this for the students. So have yourself be the first it. Do a full example, do a practice round where you're saying something simple like everyone who is wearing white, everyone will stand up, they move to their seats. Then if students make a mistake, like if they move to the seat immediately next to them, you can correct them during this practice round. And then again, be it again for the first round. Once students see it acted out, then they get it really, really quickly. But if it's not acted out, it can feel a little bit confusing. So definitely act it out. You should be it for the first 1 or 2 times. Another tip is that you can get really creative with these descriptions. They don't have to be descriptions about what someone looks like or what someone is wearing. You can get more creative with them, especially if you tailor this according to the student's English ability. If you have really low-level students, keep it simple. Everyone who is wearing black, everyone who has long hair, anyone who has glasses. But if their English level is a little bit higher, you can get a little bit more creative. You know, anyone who likes sushi, anyone who has an iPhone, everyone who ate breakfast today, anyone who is from this town or this city. That can add a lot of fun, fresh elements. And often I find students will think about something that's a little bit more physical, but they don't think about something like anyone who has a girlfriend or anyone who ate breakfast this morning. Now, a small caveat for this is it is a little bit harder to know who is telling the truth and who isn't. If you are choosing something really descriptive, like anyone who is wearing black, and if someone who is wearing black doesn't stand up, then it's very obvious that they are someone who should stand up. But anyone can say, no, I didn't eat breakfast today. And I've had that happen before with quieter classes that I've said something like, everyone who ate breakfast today, and they all don't move. Well, obviously some of you ate breakfast. Come on, join the game. So it really depends on your students' English level, but also their personality as well. Another thing you can do with this activity is, especially for low-level students, you could play this game at different times throughout the semester and choose a different theme each time you play it. So maybe you've just finished the unit on describing people, then you could play this game and make the theme describing people. So they have to describe people's physical attributes. You know, we just learned the words about hair color, we just learned the words about eye color, and you could use those in the game. Maybe a few weeks later, you're talking about clothes. And so then you make the theme all about clothes. You know, anyone who is wearing sneakers, anyone who is wearing stripes, and you can definitely use this multiple times throughout the semester, depending on the theme. Now, as you're thinking about how to make the game go more smoothly, my advice is to start off with those easier descriptions that are also visible. So start off with things like anyone who is wearing glasses, anyone with sneakers, anyone who has a watch. Those make it a lot easier for the entire class to join in because they're able to see what people are actually wearing. If you use really complex descriptions like anyone with braces, you know, a difficult vocabulary word, or something that's not visible like anyone who likes pizza, it is a little bit harder for all of the students to join in and kind of get the vibes and get the idea of the game at the beginning. So at the beginning, keep it very visual, straightforward, and simple. Then you can get more and more complex as it goes along. Honestly too, if you're playing the game with them, you can accidentally become it and throw in something that's a little bit more complex. Usually about at the halfway point, once students have really gotten the game, then I will make myself be it, and then I'll throw in something like anyone who has a girlfriend, and the students' faces every time are like, oh, we could do that. Oh, I didn't think of that before. And it adds a new, fresh, fun element to the last half of the game. Now, once students have been playing for a little bit, they might pick up on some strategies. For example, if you're in an English classroom and you say, everyone who can speak English, everyone needs to stand up and find a new seat. When that happens, it has a better chance of finding a seat. Or they can go the opposite way with this and they can look around and they realize that Paul is the only person wearing a hoodie and they can say, anyone wearing a hoodie? And Paul has to get up, but because there's no other competition, then it can just sit down. Now, don't let that happen too often, but that can cause a lot of laughs and just really be a fun activity when occasionally people single each other out. Speaking of moderating the group, that is something I do try to do. You don't want the same student to be it again and again and again. Maybe that would be a little bit embarrassing for them. So if you want, you could set some ground rules. Like if a person is it 3 times in a row, then the next time the teacher will just be it. You could even manipulate this a little bit and rush for a seat, but let a student have it so you can sacrifice yourself to be it. This game is supposed to be a fun experience, not something that is humiliating for some students. Speaking of keeping the vibes helpful and encouraging, allow students to help each other if needed. If one student comes up there and says a vocabulary word, allow students to whisper to each other and help each other translate. A lot of times too, I will let students bring their phones and keep it into their pocket. So if they have an idea for the next thing they want to say, then they can pull out their phone and really quickly translate and have it ready to go. That's another tip as well. Encourage students to think about what their next description is going to be. Otherwise, you're gonna have Jason standing in the center for 5 minutes thinking about the next description that they want to say. And obviously, even though this is such a fun activity, we need to make sure that everyone stays safe the entire time. So make sure the circle is big enough. If they start to get a little bit rowdy, maybe calm them down, slow them down, maybe take a short break before we jump back into the game. Make sure your doors are closed because this can get a little bit loud. If things start to get a little bit too rowdy, step in if you need to, bring the vibes down, give everyone the break that they need. Maybe you can be it a few more times to kind of break things up. But this is one of the activities I go back to time and time and time again because it is so much fun. All the students are engaged, all the students are participating, they're using English, they're listening to English, they're learning new vocabulary words, and it's just such a fun activity. So I hope you can try it in your own classrooms. If you have any questions, you can definitely leave them in the comments down below. I do have an article written all about this, so if you want to see it in written form, you can check out the article at atlasteachingesl.com. I'll have that linked down below as well. Try it out with your students. I hope you have as much fun with your students as I do with my students. You can also check back here for weekly videos all about ESL teaching and life in China. That's all for today. Enjoy, have fun playing circle football. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. I'll see you next time.